First of all, I suppose we should clear things up. Sir Keir Starmer first booked this warehouse, and then Rishi Sunak got in the day before him to sort of steal a march.
Well, imitation is the best form of flattery, and we do see this quite often with the Conservatives. The only good things that they do are things that they've ripped off from the Labour Party. So I think there's no problem about that. It's all good that we're using industrial backdrops. But on your substantive question, I guess, has the general election started? Well, the answer is yes. And those of you who will remember the 2015 elections and the 2010 elections, both of which were full-term elections, the election campaign started over a year before the elections were due, and they were long and they were tiresome and they ground us all down. I remember as a candidate in the 2015 election and as a lead organiser in 2010. So I do suspect we all think we're going to have a full-term parliament or thereabouts in the current thinking. And so that does mean election campaigns are starting. So we will see more of this, more of the jostling to see who can get into what business park first, and announcements coming out about the vision, in Labour's case, rebuilding this country using public and private means to ensure that we rebase our economy and the dignity that has been lost under this government. But, the Conservatives will lay out their pitch as well, I'm sure.
It is interesting to see the sort of way that politicians speak during a campaign versus the way that they might speak at the start of a parliament. And I wonder if this is a slightly damaging thing to our democracy. At the end of the 2010 to 15 parliament, almost nothing got done for the last year because people were all gearing up for that election campaign. I wonder if we're going to not see too many substantive things happen now in this parliament as both parties start to posture more than they might legislate.
Yeah, and the problem is they posture or they legislate on things that are popular with the masses, but not necessarily the things that are most needed. So, for example, the government has a renters reform bill that they have proposed. They've got a green paper of it. They have drawn it all up. They've prepared all the wording, and actually it's got cross-party support. And we know that there is a huge crisis in the rental and private housing market that needs regulation and coordination. And everyone kind of agrees that across all sides of the House. But as we know, in almost every constituency, the plurality are homeowners without a mortgage in this country. And so what suddenly happens is the parties ditch some of those things that might be needed, just looking for what will gain the plurality in every single constituency. So you do end up getting really perverse pieces of legislation that aren't necessarily what the country needs, but what the parties think might just top them over the edge in each constituency.